Okay, Assalamualaikum and good morning. Today we are going to do activity 13.4.5 packet tracer troubleshoot WLAN issue. Okay, in this activity we have one diagram consists of two network. Actually there is a three network, one home network SSID and another is a enterprise network interconnect through just some kind of network here. We can imitate them as like internet and so on. Okay, so there is an error in here. Yeah, as you can see in our home we have several devices: wireless router, smartphone, laptop, tablet PC, home admin, cable modem, but in this activity you are only required to troubleshoot on several devices only. Okay, you are only be troubleshooting the home wireless router, WSC and wireless host. So in home we are only troubleshooting wireless home router and the host. I mean the client, tablet PC, smartphone and laptop. Our home admin actually act as a terminal in order to configure our device. In our enterprise network, we have a WLC, wireless LAN controller. So all the configuration are here. So all the client, I mean the wireless client laptop 1 and laptop 2 supposed to connect to lightweight access point, which is controlled by WLC. But there might be a problem. So you need to feed them also through a terminal based on admin PC. So admin PC already connected to a switch 1, but in our home admin are not connected yet. So you need to connect to wireless router. Okay, so let's go to our experiment. So in this activity, to access home wireless router, you need to go through a web with a username and password as an admin. So let's before we go on everything, let's take a look what we already have. Okay, it's already get the IP address through the DHCP. If we go to the wireless, you should see you have successfully connected to access point. So if you go to access point, okay, home SSID, we already connected to that. Okay, never mind. But if you can see the IP address here, but the info is so small, I cannot see it, but never mind, I will see through here. So you get the IP address 192.168.0.2, subnet mask 255.255.255.0, gateway 192.168.0.1, and DNS server 10.100.100.250. You should check, does it get the correct IP? But let's say I'm a careless person, I do not check this. Never mind, because I'm going to do the experiment through a top down. I'm going to troubleshooting from the client, go down into any device that they might have a problem. So troubleshoot, test connectivity between the various wireless hosts and the web server by both IP and www.netacad.pt. So this is the web server with the www.netacad.pt and their IP address 203.0.113.78. So I'm going to test this from the top. So let's go straight to web browser. Okay, you should try on all the client here, wireless client. Okay, now I'm going to do www.netacad.pt. Go. Okay, host name unresolved. I get a problem here. Host name unresolved. From this, you should know there is a problem with the DNS. So our DNS doesn't have the info for this, or we are not connected to DNS, or we connected to the wrong DNS. There are so many issues. You need to figure it out. Okay, never mind. Let's try by using the host name by the IP address 203.0.113.78. Go. Okay, now I get a request timeout. If we are using the host name, network host name unresolved, we cannot get the IP address. But if we use the IP address, we get a reply, or we don't get a reply, which is we get a request timeout, which is we cannot reach that network or that device. So there might be not an issue of our DNS cannot translate the host name. Maybe we are not able to connect to DNS. If you can see, the DNS server also located inside other network in here. So let's try to figure out through a command prompt. So let's try to ping. Okay, we already know www.netacad.pt cannot be reached through a web browser. We get a hostname unresolved. We should get the same error in here. Okay, ping request cannot find the host. Yes, it confirmed that we cannot reach the our DNS is not working. But never mind, I will try to use a IP address 203.0.113.78. Okay, reply from 192.168.0.1, which is our gateway, our router. So which means we are only able to connect to the router but not beyond that. So if you take a look, this is our router. So we are only able to get a ping until the router and the router reply. We cannot reach 203.0.113.78. What's the problem? Never mind. Let's try with our host, our DNS. What is our DNS? ipconfig/all. So this is DNS. Okay, now I'm going to ping 10.100.100.250. Also, destination host unreachable. Okay, what's the problem in here? Which means like our router are not connected to the modem, to the network here. So let's troubleshoot, figure out what's the problem. So we know the problem are inside our wireless router. So now we are going to troubleshoot. We can configure our router through our client in here, but there might be a problem if we are using a wireless. They might have a problem if we change the wireless setting and so on. So let's not using a wireless device. Let's use a wired connection. So in order to troubleshoot, we need to connect them through a switch or switch port inside our wireless router. Okay, now let's see what do we get now. IP address. Okay, I get the IP address. And now I go to web browser 192.168.0.1. Remember, I get the gateway 192.168.0.1. So our router must be the gateway. So username is admin, password is also admin. Okay. So now let's see. Internet connection type static IP. Did we use a static IP? So we see the problem actually from our home router to the router in here to the network. Actually, you can view them through a status. So this is the IP address 192.168.1.2. Is it the correct IP address that we use? Okay, let's go back to our addressing. So remember, we are troubleshooting for the home network. You should check everything. Tablet, PC, smartphone, laptop, and wireless router. So you can view all the devices in here. But today, now I'm already only focusing on home wireless router. Okay, let's see. Dear LAN 192.168.0.1. Yes, we already connect to 192.168.0.1 as our gateway. But a connection for this interface is supposed to use a DHCP. Unfortunately, we are not using a DHCP. We are using a static IP. So that means we are using a wrong IP address. Because we put a static IP, which is not necessary use the correct IP. So we can fix it. Change to DHCP. And now, save the setting. And let's try one more time. Okay, now I'm connected. Okay, so we are through a DHCP. So let's take a look for status. Okay, the correct IP actually 10.100.200.2. So that's why you are not able to connect because you are using the wrong IP address. Because you configure it manually, static IP. It's supposed to use IP from 10.100.200 something. So we already fixed that. So let's take a look on our laptop once more. Okay. So let's try. Ping our DNS server. Request timeout. Okay. As you can see, we get a different reply now. Before that, you get a reply from 192.168.0.1, which means you do not go out from the router, wireless router. But now you get request timeout, which means you already go beyond the router, but they cannot find the device with the IP address 10.100.100.250. So there is another issue, another problem. What is it? Okay, let's try take a look. Did we using the correct IP address for our DNS server? Where is the DNS server? Okay, so for the home, we also need to look up what's the info for the DNS server. So DNS server, the IP address is 10.100.100.254, which means our laptop are using a wrong IP address in here. 10.100.100.250. Did we need to fix it through here? 10.100.100.254. Okay, you can change it here, but if you go back to this laptop, supposed to get the IP address through DHCP. We are not supposed to do manually. If you would like to do manual, you need to manually change for all other device. In here, you're supposed to use a DHCP. Okay. And also in smartphone, you also supposed to use a DHCP, which is you do not get to 10.100.100.254. So in order to fix this, you need to fix at the root, where it came from the wireless router. So let's go back in here. How to resolve that? We need to change the IP address. Okay, disconnect 192.168.0.1 admin. Okay, done. For network setup, so IP address 192.168.0.1 correct. Okay, so now this is for the start IP address 192.168.0.1. Are we supposed to start with 0.1? 0.1 actually we are already used for our router, so we supposed to skip 0.1, but no mind. I would like to fix the DNS first. Okay, so I should use a 254. Okay, now save setting. Let's see on our tablet PC. So I get that 10.100.100.254. Okay, what's the IP address? 192.168.0.5. Okay, let's take a look on our laptop. Okay, static. No, I do not want to get a static through a DHCP. Okay, now I get 192.168.0.2 and the DNS is 10.100.100.254. So we get the correct IP address. Let's take a look on our smartphone. Does it get the correct IP address? No. So try one more time. Okay, now I get the correct IP address. So I'm going to test with our DNS server here. IP config/all. So I get the correct DNS server. So I can ping 10.100.100.254. So now I get a reply, which means I can ask for any info from our DNS server. So I can do NS lookup. You can do this on your Windows operating system for any domain name. netacat.pt. This is asking info from a DNS server. So you can see when I do NS lookup, the server, this is the DNS server. And we get the IP address 203.0.113.78, which means I can ping www.netacat.pt. Okay, so the ping for 203.0.113.78. So I can get a reply now. So let's try from our web browser. www.netacad.pt. Go. Okay, so now we are connected to a server. So we already fixed the problem. Are we fixed for everything? You should check everything. Okay, laptop, tablet PC, smartphone, they use a HTTP. You should check for their connection through their web server. And all the other info they are using the correct IP address. Okay, done. So when you do this, you need to write down somewhere what's the problem for each device. Okay, laptop home network issue, cannot connect to web server, cannot connect to their IP address, cannot ping DNS server, and get the wrong DNS server. That's why. So how to fix that? There's a lot of issue here, so you can try to figure it out. Okay, wireless router, the problem with the IP address, they're using static, not or dynamic, and their configuration for the HTTP, for the HTTP server, they put a wrong DNS server. So you need to fix that. So you need to do the same thing with the enterprise network, but I'm not going to show you everything. I want you to do by your own after this.